Uh, hey, everybody. I think that our technical difficulties might actually be over. Hold on one second. Brilliant. Okay, how is everybody? Welcome to my little live stream today. We have things to talk about that I'm really excited about, and I think that it actually is going to work today. I know that past few days we had a little bit of an issue. Today, just so you know, the moon is in Cancer until 2:53 p.m. EDT, and then it enters Leo. So beginning part of the day now, it's an emotional time, more emotional than usual, more sensitive, and then we get to have a lot of fun at 2:53 p.m. EDT. When the moon enters Leo, it's going to be a nice, relaxing day. Howdy, everybody. Howdy, Fran Marie. It's good to see everybody here. So a lot of cool things going on that I wanted to discuss. Let me show you what we're going to talk about today. So the first thing I wanted to mention is that we have Stephanie Grisham's book that's getting a lot of trending. Today, it was trending about essentially Melania jabbing Jill Biden, saying that Jill Biden stands so close to Joe because she has to hold him up. So she said in the book that Melania mocked Jill Biden by saying she stands so close to her husband, Joe, because she has to hold him up, according to the exclusive new book by Grisham. The former First Lady is said to have told ex-aide Stephanie Grisham, "I don't stand next to him," meaning Trump, "because I don't need to hold him up like she does," which is interesting. So yeah, I mean, I guess they do stand rather close together. I don't know, but I think that this was just an interesting thing because recently we wound up hearing a lot about this picture. I'll make it bigger so you can see it, of Harry and Meghan. People had, claimed that the posture was a little bit strange, how he's like hiding behind her, leaning on her. I really want to hear from the women here, because I wonder what you guys think about such a posture, about how like these traditional gender roles are being turned on their heads, in the sense that now it's becoming either woke or acceptable for men to lean on women such as this, whereas the traditional roles are, she is leaning on him. Traditionally, he's the strong one, and she's leaning on him. But everything has gotten really inverted lately, and I think this photo with Harry and Meghan is extremely revealing. I mean, he does seem as if he really is, hiding behind her and leaning on her. Clearly in this picture, she's perceived as, being depicted anyway, as the strong one. I mean, even the colors, her being in traditionally masculine white, if you think of the yin yang, and him in dark clothes being the feminine. It's really interesting. Yeah, so I don't know. I think from the women that I know, and I've spent my career working with women, this is not the stance that they want. This is not what they want. They don't necessarily want to be the strong one. They want to lean on their man. And it's just interesting how the book talks about that, how Melania is more into traditional values in regard to that. The book, also Grisham's book, spoke a lot, apparently, about the I really don't care jacket that Melania wore. There's an entire chapter in the book about Mrs. Trump's infamous "I really don't care, do you" jacket she wore to visit migrant children in Texas. Grisham reportedly writes that she was too busy organizing the trip to keep the First Lady from wearing the $39 Zara jacket in the well-photographed stop at the border with Mexico. At the White House, apparently, Grisham writes that she and Trump were in the Oval Office when the president asked, "What the hell were you thinking?" regarding the jacket. He later decided to say in a tweet that the jacket's message was directed at the fake news media. Yeah, it's interesting. My man, if I had one, if I had one, could lean on me, but he better always got my back. Yeah, I think that that's true. I think it's really true that, you know, it's about balance, right? But anyway, yeah, the jacket gets a little bit of press again. We don't find out though why she actually wore the jacket, like what was going through her head in regard to that. It's weird because Melania is a Taurus, and Tauruses are just so by the book and protocol. So yeah, I just think it's a little bit strange. Good morning, Sin. It's great to see everybody here. Let's see here. What other any reason for poor sleep lately? I don't know. Maybe it could be Mercury. Mercury is retrograde, and that's, you know, having to make us think in a lot of respects about the past a lot. So that's coming up a little bit. But I don't know if there's any actual reason for it. We did have the moon in Cancer last few nights, so that might have something to do with it as well. Good morning, Jamie. It's great to see everybody today. Another thing I wanted to open up that discussion about the traditional gender roles. I just think it's really important because the women that I know, they want to lean on their man. They don't want, let me see. They don't want this. This is just really so fascinating and interesting. I think honestly that Harry, I think he's just tired. I think he's tired. I think, you know, it's a lot. And if you think about it dynamically, he went from this one sort of, you know, prison, if you want to call it that, with being in the royal family, perhaps to another one, because you can't just switch and all of a sudden, you know, feel as if you're, you know, you're free and you have your freedom, because that's not your homeostasis. So all the problems that he was dealing with as a royal in Buck Palace, let's say, those spiritually anyway are going to reflect in his other life, whatever else he does. So it's interesting to look at the parallels of, you know, the difficulties he faced in the palace versus the difficulties he's experiencing perhaps in LA with Meghan. But yeah, it's just interesting. Harry seems to go from alpha military type to beta woke. I mean, I don't remember him actually being alpha military type. I don't remember that. I think that he likes to relax and maybe drink. And you know, sometimes when you want to just do that, it's sort of like go ahead. Like, she's a lot to deal with, my feeling is. And as a result, I think that, you know, he lets her run the show. He is a Virgo, she is a Leo. I think that makes perfect sense to me. And I think that it's just easier for him to let her lead. And I think that she's completely fine with it because, you know, she's a control freak. Yeah, that's what I think. Other news today, besides Grisham and men leaning on women, is dog bounty hunters in the news trying to find this guy. Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of people are having, a lot of people are saying, if Dog the Bounty Hunter finds Brian Laundrie, I'm never paying taxes again. It's kind of funny. Dog the Bounty Hunter, who is on the hunt for fugitive Brian Laundrie, has reportedly come across a fresh campsite at a Florida park where he and his team found a can of Monster Energy Ultra Gold. So, yeah, did Brian Laundrie drink this? Like, how is this that big of a deal? But anyway, he found it. I guess that's good. But I thought it was interesting. Another site source actually reports that Chapman believes, and that's the dog bounty hunter, he believes that Laudry is not only alive, but that he's close to capturing him. I wanted to give a little bit of a look at this Dwayne Chapman guy. This is the bounty hunter, dog bounty hunter. Just to look at his chart a little bit, it's interesting. We don't have the time of birth, but we do have his. Yeah, I don't think it was a joke. Yeah. So we don't have dog bounty hunter's time of birth, but we do have his date of birth. And it looks like, unless he was born after 10 p.m., it looks like he is a Virgo moon. He is an Aquarius. His sun conjuncts Mercury in Aquarius, exact at 13 degrees. So Aquarius gets like flashes of insight, like scintillating successes. Like they get these flashes. Aquarius is very much like connected. So especially with Mercury in Aquarius, because Mercury is exalted in Aquarius, it's a very, very, very strong Mercury. And really, if we look, that is his destiny with the North Node in Aquarius. So you have like the Sun conjunct Mercury in Aquarius, and then the North Node. Like he is a very, very strong communicator who gains a lot of insight through his flashes of inspiration. He gets, Aquarians, they're like electric. They see things really flash. They flash in front of their faces, and it's interesting. But the Virgo moon that he has, most likely, unless he was born after 10 p.m., makes him really good at being practical. So even though he's getting these really brilliant, genius flashes of insight, he's making them really grounded. He's really grounding them with practical work and artifacts, with the Virgo stuff. And working Virgo moon works extremely hard, really, really hard. And yeah, it's interesting with this chart. He has a very interesting chart. And also that Sun and Mercury in Aquarius makes this quincunx with Uranus, which is like an erratic adjustment that's needed in terms of when he gets information. It's sort of like there's an emotional and rather intellectual thing that happens with him. He's very, very much connected to energy in a very, very emotional way, and it's not really necessarily enjoyable for him. I wonder how he's doing without his Beth. So I never watched the show. I guess he was on a reality show. So was Beth his wife, and are they no longer together? The chart is just so you know, it's the bounty hunter, dog bounty hunter. But yeah, there's interesting stuff here. So essentially, he there's a lot of inspiration that he gets in a very electric kind of way. Other stuff that's interesting, his Neptune and Saturn are conjunct as well, which is really interesting because Neptune like fuzzies things and makes things it sort of waters things down and makes them a little bit fuzzy. It obfuscates things, and Saturn wants definition. So the two together, it's sort of like he's making definition out of things that are fuzzy. And there's obviously a psychical aspect to Neptune as well. But when we look at his transits, it's interesting. Everything is really set up for him to succeed. A lot of really cool things that are going on right now. So we have Uranus hitting his Jupiter, which is always an interesting thing, a really good thing. Jupiter brings luck and expansion and growth. And with Uranus there, Uranus like electrifies things and like shocks things. So his Jupiter, his luck, his expansion right now is being catalyzed with Uranus transiting his Jupiter. Meanwhile, transiting Jupiter at 22 degrees Aquarius it's within quite a few degrees of his Sun and Mercury, but it still is an Aquarius, which I'm sure is helping him as well. It's really interesting. You also have Mercury right now, transiting Mercury retrograde at 24 degrees Libra, making an exact conjunction to his Neptune. So planet of communication is sending vibrational energy to his Neptune. So there's a lot of energy in the world, in the atmosphere with Mercury, that's feeding his Neptune, where he's really porous. So I feel like he's definitely getting these interesting blips of information. However, I do think that with that Uranus and Taurus hitting his Jupiter in Taurus, I guess the concern that I would have about him is him being too logical and not allowing himself to utilize his insights. But of course, there's that space where science hits spirit, and the two are actually one, and he might be able to balance it. It will be interesting to see. It will be interesting to see. What is that? Dogecoin? Is that going in? What is that exactly? I don't know what that is. Yeah. So he's definitely about ready to expand in some kind of way. I would think that anything that he can do, I think he's probably going to write a book, is my guess. Will he find her? I'm really not too sure. I'm not too sure if he's going to find her. Well, that is my website, by the way, for people who might just be joining. If you're looking for a psychic astrology reading of your own. Otherwise, what else is going on? Love to open up the chat before I have to scram. Oh, cryptocurrency. Is that going anywhere? I never thought that it would, to be honest. So we're talking about this. Is that going anywhere? I don't think it is. Personally, I think it's going to do fairly well. I'm not giving financial advice because I can't do that. I'm not a financial analyst, but my feeling is you want to, expect the highs and lows. I think that it will, in terms of crypto. I think there will be some good things with that, but I'm not certain that it's going to really last. I've never had a great feeling about that for the long haul. But yeah, any questions that you want to talk about or anything that you want to discuss before I jam? Any questions before I get out of here? It's going to be a nice day, especially later when the moon enters Leo. I think it should be really, really good. Well, I think that's it, guys. I appreciate you joining me. I hope you have a wonderful day. And we're buffering, maybe that was why. Yeah, so, if you feel like commenting, I'd love to hear what you think about, Stephanie Grisham's book, but especially Melania stuff about leaning on, hi, Justina, about leaning on men. I want to really open that up. I'm really, really curious because, again, maybe I'm wrong, but the women that I know, most of them anyway, they want to lean on their men. They don't want to be leaned upon. Oh, you're the best. Thank you. I appreciate that. I love that. That's really sweet. And also the dog, the bounty hunter. My concern, again, in terms of him finding Brian Laundrie, number one, I'm not even sure about Brian Laundrie, whether or not he's alive. It's really interesting. However, my feeling is that if anything kept the bounty hunter from doing that, it would be him being too practical. Again, he's going to get his information like with flashes of insight, flashes of genius. But I hope he finds him. I think that would be really cool. And maybe he'll write a book. Maybe he'll do a show. But yeah, thank you, Right as Rain. It's great to be here. I hope I can keep doing this. So have a great day, everybody. I hope to see you all soon. And take good care, okay? Bye-bye.